I'm Andrene.
And I'm Joel.
And this is Rewind Rewatch, a 90s movie podcast. Welcome back to Rewind Rewatch, where my brother and I rewatch 90s films and discuss how well they have aged. We will talk about the plot points, themes, quotes, and then at the end of the episode, we will give the movie a rewind rating between 1 and 5 to determine how likely it is we would watch the film again. Today, we are talking about 1995's Sense and Sensibility.
Both of them.
Both of them, very much so, both of them. I would say starring Emma Thompson, Kate Winslet, Hugh Grant, Alan Rickman.
Yep.
Those are the big names.
Yeah.
Big names there. This was requested by two lovely listeners. First off, our mom out of Georgia.
Shout out to Mom.
And secondly, we received a very special birthday request from Nikki out of Miramar, Florida.
Shout out to Nikki.
She sent us a message on IG letting us know that her 36th birthday is on May the 18th and that she really, really wanted us to do this or another Hugh Grant film. So, in honor of Nikki's birthday week, we present this episode.
All right. Shout out to Nikki. And happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Okay, so before we talk about who all is in this and how we've seen them, in the past, if at all, have you seen this film before?
I have not.
Have you heard of this film before?
I have.
Oh, okay. So what?
This is a what's her name book?
Jane Austen.
Right. You knew who I meant.
Yes, this is a Jane Austen book. Have you read the book?
I have not.
Have you read a Jane Austen book?
Maybe.
Pride and Prejudice is probably the big one that most people have read.
So this is all her titles is
And.
Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice. This is what she does?
This is what she does. You know what? I don't think I've actually read a Jane Austen book.
I don't think I have either.
Which is kind of shocking, but I can't think of one that I've read.
Seems like books that you would read in like school. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not like just gonna pick up a Jane Austen novel.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so
shout out to her though.
This is a first watch for both of us. It was directed by Ang Lee. Ang Lee is known for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Brokeback Mountain, and Life of Pi. So pretty
big movie.
Pretty big deal. All right. So Emma Thompson we covered before on the pod. She was in Junior, and I feel like saying that Emma Thompson was in Junior is like picking out like the worst possible.
Man, well, she was in Junior.
Film that this woman was in.
She was in Junior. That's a fact.
She was, but it's just funny to think about when I think about her. Like that's the movie that we covered when she did this film. We also have Kate Winslet, who she was in Titanic. That's probably the big one I think about when I think about Kate Winslet.
Of course, it's Titanic.
And then Hugh Grant. I think about Hugh Grant. I think about Renee Zellweger films.
Bridget Jones?
Yes. I see him as Mr. Darcy, as like the pompous, rich, dashing English fellow. So to see him in this movie where he's playing kind of like a bumbling, like unassuming guy was different for me. And then Alan Rickman, I think of being Professor Snape in the Harry Potter films.
And Hans Gruber in Die Hard.
I have never seen Die Hard all the way through.
Oh well, so. he's the main villain.
Okay, well let's get into your one sentence summary. If you were to summarize Sense and Sensibility,
both,
how would you describe? This is kind of difficult.
This is kind of difficult.
How about I give you a semicolon so you can.
Can I buy a vowel? So, two sisters deal with the aftermath of secrets involving their respective lovers.
Okay. Yeah. Very much so. So the movie opens up and you see the sisters are part of the Dashwood family. And Dashwood, of course, the man of the house is the father. I'll just call him Pops Dashwood for now.
I'll just call him dead.
Well, yes, Pops is very much dying. And he calls in his only son, John, in from London on his deathbed to basically ask him to make sure that he helps out his stepmother and his stepsisters, as the estate will be entirely left to John as he is the only boy. Now, the context here is it's set in the 1790s, and this is obviously it's in England. And back then, of course, inheritance only passes, from father down to son. And he has two families. He has a son on one side, and then he has his his stepmother and stepsisters on the other side. He's only able to pass the estate down to the son. And so he tells the son, please make sure that they are taken care of. And the son pledges to do so. And he has the thought process, or at least the intention to do so, until he goes back home and he talks to his wife, Fanny. God. Fanny Dashwood.
Fanny's a straight hater, dog. Like, and this is the thing. She stays a hater the whole movie.
The whole movie.
Because once he comes to her, it's like, yo, we gotta like do something for my sisters, da 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 da. Yo, but he didn't tell you how much to give them, right? So what if we just like, instead of giving them this much, maybe we could just give them this much. Actually, their quality of life isn't just going to be based on money. So maybe we only need to give them this much. So they're having this conversation over time, and he keeps being talked down into giving his stepsisters less and less and less. And this is all the doing of his wife. Understanding that because her husband is inheriting everything his father owns, that includes all of his property. And that includes the estate that his wife and daughters are living in. So she shows up, Fanny and John show up, and basically like, yeah, like, Dad's dead. This house isn't yours anymore. We're taking it.
Man, all I kept thinking to myself is poor Mrs. Dashwood. Like, she's beside herself because she's now basically a visitor in her own home.
She's just been widowed. Like,
yeah,
this is
it's
the other
like there's so much going on. Like, she can't even grieve properly because now you have Fanny taking over it, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, and by the way, my brother's coming to stay here." It's like, okay, and they can't say no because they have really no say. And now Fanny is now, the woman of the house, so she's gonna get her way because John, we can see, is clearly a pushover. Whatever Fanny wants, John's just gonna go ahead and oblige. And I was trying to figure out, like, money-wise, how much money they actually have, because they say that they're going to be receiving £500 a year. So if you think about 1790, 500 British pounds, if you were to convert it based on, inflation and all that into US dollars, currently she'd be receiving, they'd be getting between like 122,000 to 130 a year for four people. So basically, it's Mrs. Dashwood and then her three daughters. The three daughters are Eleanor Dashwood, Marianne Dashwood, and the young one who's like 12, Margaret Dashwood. And okay, 120 seems like, okay, that's reasonable, but you got to think, like, they were living on an estate with multiple servants, multiple butlers, drivers, carriages, horses, stables, all of these things. And now they have essentially no property and they have to share this money.
No, they're cooked.
They can't live like this. And so now they're in this house, and the brother of Fanny, Edward, shows up. And Edward is played by Hugh Grant.
This is the crazy thing, though. It's like you've basically gone from rich to poor. They're not poor. They're not destitute,
Right.
but in the grand scheme of how they've been living, they're poor now, and it's really just on account of what? Sister-in-law. Like the woman who's making all of the decisions here isn't even a part of this family.
Mhm.
She is only there through marriage, and it's only because the brother's not really making any sort of stand. So he's just like, oh, maybe we should do this. His wife will talk him out of it, and then he'll just be like, okay, you're right.
Exactly.
So it's like she's making all of the decisions about what happens in this family, and she's not even really a part of this family. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate when you think about it. So much so, like Fanny is she's so abrasive. Not only does she invite Edward over, she basically tries to take Margaret out of her room and place Edward in her bedroom. And
does.
well, until Edward shows up and he says something about his view of something, and she was like, you should have a view of the stables. And he said, well, actually, when I showed up, I was in someone's, like a family member's bedroom, I realized, by accident, he's assuming. And he said, so instead I put myself in one of the guest bedrooms because he has decency. And he even says to his sister, like, yo, they just lost their father. They need time to grieve. And she's like, what's the big deal? They got to get out of this house.
Yeah.
This is my house now.
Yeah, screw them.
I was like, yo, why is she so nasty?
It's not your house. It's your husband's house.
She's nasty.
She's an awful person. This is, I think, the same mom who plays on Succession, right? Wasn't that the mom?
Oh my God, was that her?
I thought it was her.
You might be right. I did not clock that.
The Roy's mom.
I mean,
was divorced from Logan.
And she was a terrible person in that show.
Yeah.
So maybe so this actress name is Harriet Walter. And let me see, let me just scroll down. I'm looking at her IMDb, what she's known for. It's not listed up there. And I feel like it would be because that's like a huge. Oh, you're right. 7 episodes.
There you go.
Lady Coraline Collingwood.
Yep.
So she's known, so she could play a miserable wife very well, is what we're learning from her IMDb.
Yeah.
Oh, good call. I missed that.
No, I'm like, I definitely know this woman's face.
Yeah, so Edward shows up, and Edward, you could tell, is complete opposite of his sister, like I said. He is able to read the room, see what's going on. Ever since Fanny and John show up at the house, the youngest daughter, Margaret, has disappeared. She's hiding everywhere. She doesn't really want to be seen. And Edward's able to realize that she's hiding out in the library. And so he, like, pretends to not know where the River Nile is and to say all these things because she's really into the atlas. Like, that's her big thing, is learning about the world. And she's fascinated about knowing about other countries. And he's able to draw her out. And they form this nice, like a familial bond almost, like a big brother type of bond. And they're fencing together and they're having a good time. And while this is going on, we notice that Eleanor is definitely smitten by Edward. And likewise, they have this nice rapport. They're easy to talk to. And you can tell that there's something that is happening there. While they're there at the house, trying to figure out what they're going to do, Eleanor is the one who's trying to budget their money and figure out where we could possibly afford to rent. And fortunately, Mrs. Dashwood, the mother, receives a letter from her widowed cousin, Sir John Middleton, who says that he has a cottage available for them to come and live there. It's much smaller than what they're used to, but of course, it's a place to stay. Initially, she doesn't want to leave yet because she sees that Eleanor and Edward have this thing going on. And so she's like, well, let's give them some time to kind of have this romance bud a little bit before we decide to move out. And what's happening now is Joel mentions that Fanny's a hater. Fanny sees what's going on. Everybody's seeing that Eleanor and Edward are like taking walks together and they're talking and they're going on horseback rides together. And Fanny pulls Mrs. Dashwood to the side basically and has a conversation like, well, our mother, Mrs. Ferris, is very hard on Edward and he wants him to have a certain profession. And she also wants him to marry well. And so much so, she says that if he doesn't marry someone who's wealthy, she is going to withhold his inheritance from him.
Edward is entirely the kind of compassionate person upon whom penniless women can prey. And having entered into any understanding, he would never go back on his word. He is simply incapable of doing so. But it would lead to his ruin. I worry for him, sir, Mrs. Dashwood. My mother has always made it perfectly plain that she will withdraw all financial support from Edward should he choose to plant his affections in less exalted ground than he deserves.
I understand you perfectly.
So a lot of this comes back to what money you have, and basically your money kind of decides your worth. Can you imagine living in that kind of society?
Me? We live in one right now. Yeah, so at first, I'll say this. Watching this movie for the first time, I'm watching Fanny, and because she's such a hater, there's certain things that happen throughout the film where I'm like, yo, did she set this up? Like, is she just like pulling the strings? Because like there's this conversation she has about like Edward's inheritance. And then later we have this whole thing with him like having some secret engagement to some woman named Miss Steele. And I'm like, is this real, or is this like somebody that, is this like a Fanny Plant? Like I'm thinking all this stuff. Cause it seemed like she just really didn't want her brother to be mixed up with the Dashwoods. But as the film plays out, we see that there are not just within, you know, his family, the what are they? The
Farris?
Farris?
Yeah, F-A-R-R-A-S. F-E-R-R-A-S.
Ferris, yeah,
No,
the Ferris.
Ferrars.
No. The Ferrars.
Ferrars.
Yeah, it was with an R. It was an R. Ferrar. Anyway, there are multiple characters in this film that either lose or are threatened to lose their inheritance. So this is a thing where it's like, it's not just something that, yes, Fanny is definitely being a hater. Fanny is definitely flexing her muscles to the Mrs. Dashwood, but it's also true.
Yeah.
Like,
no, yeah. Her mom
she's
is
not making it up. Like,
Yeah.
if he doesn't marry the right woman, he is gonna lose his inheritance. And he even insinuates when he's having some of these conversations with Eleanor, like, oh yeah, if it was up to me, I would just get a college like this out in the country and be a preacher. But my mom wants me to be a city boy and go, you know, be a lawyer or join the army or something. So it's like, I have to be a part of high society. And I actually would just rather just be out here doing these things, but I can't. And we see like time and time again how these men, and I think this is actually an interesting thing to talk about. There are very clear gender roles throughout this film.
Yep.
And a big part of this movie is the fact that, yo, the Dashwoods are now broke basically because they're women. Like,
yeah.
Oh, you're a woman, so you don't get anything. And so now, like, you're just asked out. And so their entire, like, livelihood is basically based on which men they can attach themselves to. So, like, that's their whole world is just like, who are good men with money?
Yes.
And if you don't get a good man with money, then, like, your life is basically, your quality of life just goes all the way down.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of it, there's also the gender roles for men and what's expected of them. And the family ties that they're expected to upkeep and the preservation of their reputation and their family's reputation and the type of women they're even allowed to fall for. And it seems that there is like all of these expectations that are being placed on these people, and the emotional connection that they build with other people basically either has to be unburdened and forgotten, or they do things like Edward and like have these secret engagements because the whole thing with Miss Steele was the fact that she didn't really have money, especially not compared to him. And so she was like working in his house or something. Oh no, I'm thinking of somebody else. There's also
multiple stories.
There's the Colonel Brandon story,
the Colonel, yeah.
right? So then it's like, oh, you meet somebody, but they're not a part of high society. You either have to let them go, or you lose your family behind it.
Yes.
So it's like nobody's really winning in these situations.
That's the thing.
The women are losing and the men are losing.
That's the thing. No one really is winning. And I'm glad you said that. So I want to get to Lucy, but before I get there, I just want to say that. So while they're there, it's clear that Edward and Eleanor have something going on. Eventually, Edward is sent away. He has to go. But he promises to basically come and return and see them at their new cottage that they're going to be staying at. And he's also going to be coming back to return Margaret's atlas that he borrowed. Okay, fine. Before he leaves, he starts telling Eleanor some story. He said, when I was younger, he's like, oh, I was working with this man. And then his sister comes running in and it's like, Mom needs you right now. And he's like, well, I'm already going back home this afternoon. Can't it wait? And she said, no, you got to go right now. And you're right. At first, I thought she was being a hater, but his mom very well may have been calling him because it seemed the mom in this family seems to be running things. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, 100%.
His mom is definitely running things.
100%. Yeah, I thought that it was some cahoots that that Fanny had,
cooked up.
But nah, like this family. Nah, listen, man, listen. You got to do what
if mom
said.
calls, you better come. You better go see mom. So he has to flee. So now, I mean, Eleanor's kind of sad, but it's like at least she knows that Edward's going to be coming to visit her at the new cottage. Things are looking up. So they go to this cottage. They're there, and
well, I think the other thing. Well, I don't know where you're gonna go with this.
Okay.
But I think the other thing that's worth noting is the difference between Eleanor and Marianne.
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
Okay.
Because
I think that's also why she reacts certain ways.
Yeah, absolutely. But the Marianne part, that does we're gonna talk about that at this moment. So like they go to this new place with the cousin. The cousin's there with his mother-in-law. They're a hot mess. They're a trip. And while they're there,
nah, they're lit, bro.
Yeah,
they're the best. They're my favorite characters in this whole movie. What are you talking about?
The busiest bodies I've ever met in my entire life.
Sir John Middleton and his friend Mrs. Jennings.
That's his mother-in-law.
Oh, that's his mother-in-law?
Yeah, his wife
I
passed.
didn't know who it was.
His wife passed.
I just knew she was lit.
Yeah. She knows all the hot guys.
They're turning up. They're in everybody's business. They're cracking jokes. They're just like, yo, we're out here in the country.
They're living large.
Yo, like, everything's good. Like, it doesn't really matter. We don't have to worry about being in the city. We don't have to worry about all these other things. Like, yo, we're just out here having fun. And we have fun by cracking jokes and being in everybody's business. Like, this is what we're doing. And they're not used to this, the Dashwoods, because they're used to being kind of like buttoned up and stush.
And you don't talk about anything.
Yeah, they don't talk about anything. So then it's like, yo, they're asking like these very like forward questions. Oh, yo, you got this guy that you're interested in?
What's his name?
They're like, yo, what? Like, there's no man. It's like, yo, there's a man. Like, yo, don't front. And Margaret doesn't care because she's a child. So she's just like, yo, his name starts with an F. Like, she's going in. Yeah. She doesn't care. She thinks
F?
So then now it's jokes time. Now it's like, oh, let's sing a song in the key of F. Like, what's his name? Could it be Farraby? Forward? Maybe forward.
Fondue?
They're going crazy.
Fondant? Yeah.
They're going crazy the whole time. So then everything for them is just jokes. So I actually appreciated them and just their lightheartedness. And they're just like, it's like when you have like your country cousins and they just be acting mad different. And you're like, oh, all right, this is just some other, they have different norms.
Yeah.
It's like they had different norms.
Yeah.
But they're actually having more fun than you guys. So
and they're not bad people. Like Miss, what's her name?
Jennings?
Miss she actually wants everyone to get married. Like, she's trying to hook them up with good suitors and make sure they're all married off and taken care of.
She's just a busybody.
Yeah. But she's harmless.
Nah, yeah. And Jennings was legit too, because even Jennings was like, bro, like, He's like, bro, she's not feeling you. Let's just go take a walk, bro. When Willoughby comes, nah, this is the whole thing.
So Marianne, right?
Nah.
So they go to the cousin's house, and while they're there, we meet the colonel. Colonel Brando shows up, and that's your man, Professor Snape. He shows up, and distinguished man of the military. He got money, but he's also older because he used to fight with Sir John. But he sees Marianne, he hears her playing the piano and singing, and he is just in love. Like, he stops what he's doing and he's just watching her. Like, he mesmerized. So he's obviously interested in her. He's bringing her flowers. He's trying to talk to her. He's trying to have conversations. And she is not feeling him at all. It's very obvious she's not feeling him at all. But he's a respectable man, so he's going to try to do his best. And as I'm watching this, I'm thinking to myself, imagine living in a world like this where the only way you could meet a man is if they come to the house.
Yeah, you gotta make a house call.
Or if you happen to go to a dance or a ball and see someone across the room. But it's like you're literally just in your house waiting for a gentleman caller.
Facts.
Because at first when I'm watching it, I'm like, you think
I
about...
mean, they are now because they're living in a cottage in the middle of the country, but presumably when they were...
If you're in the
city or they was living in that big manor, they were probably around men all the time. Because you're just meeting more people.
Yes.
But that's also why you would have balls and you would have dances and you would have parties and you would have tea or whatever. I don't know. But like they would do these things. You know, it's just like nowadays. You have social events and it's like, all right, guys are going to be able to meet girls here.
Yes, but I'm also thinking like we leave the house on a daily basis. Like, they could go a whole week where they're just, like, staying on the manor, is what I'm saying. So it's like, you're literally waiting for a man to show up. Which is why...
I mean, listen, ask any of your single friends now how easy of a time they're having finding men. They'll be like, it ain't that much different, sister. So
I'm saying, like, just the concept of sitting around and waiting, which is why when a gentleman comes to the house, like, you get all, like, flurried and like make sure your hair looks good and like you're ready to meet them because it's like this is your chance to get married, and therefore it's not even just about... So for Marianne, it's about falling in love. It's about feeling the spark. It's about all these things. Because when she meets Edward, she tries to get Edward to read some of Shakespeare's sonnets.
And he's trash.
And he's not reading it in the manner that she would like. She's like, there's no passion. Like, he just is very drab. He's not really her cup of tea.
Nah, yeah. And this is her whole thing with Edward is like, yo, this guy's a little too buttoned up. Like he has no passion. He has no emotion. And so this is kind of what I was going to get into is the whole thing is she is someone who she's into music. She likes to read sonnets. She's very artistic and she's very emotional. So for her, romance is about passion. And her sister, Eleanor, is a little bit more put together, a little bit more normalized, I'll say. And so she carries herself the way women have been told to carry themselves, which is basically to say, keep all your emotions inside. Don't show anything outwardly. Be a woman, be a lady, be polite.
Yeah.
No outbursts. No, you know. And so I think that's a part of the way that she plays it when Edward leaves is like, she's disappointed, but she's not going to say, I'm disappointed. She's going to be like, he had to go. And her sister is almost like prodding her to like, yo, admit that you like this guy. Admit that you kind of want to.
Do you love him?
Yeah,
she's like, I like him just fine.
She's like, yeah, he's a good guy. Like, he's cool. But she's also saying in her head, like, yo, we don't have money anymore. So at the end of the day, like, I'm not even going to let myself get excited about the prospect of potentially being with this man because I know that at the end of the day, he's going to have to marry somebody of means. And we're no longer women of means. So I'm not even going to allow myself to fantasize about this possibility. While her sister, on the other hand, is full fantasy all the time. Just Mariah Carey and Old Dirty Bastard. Like, she's like full on, like, in fantasy mode.
Let's just get into Willoughby of it all. So Willoughby, right? Marianne's outside with Margaret. It's raining outside. I don't know why Marianne liked being outside in the rain, because I feel like throughout this movie, there's multiple times when she's outside in the rain. She running around, she fall down, and she twists her ankle. Willoughby shows up on this horseback riding, and he comes over like a true knight in shining armor. Picks her up, makes sure her ankle is okay, it's not broken, walks her into the cottage, and
he literally came and swept her off her feet.
Yes.
Like, it was too much.
With the pouring rain, he comes inside, lays her down, makes sure she's okay, all of that. And she is 10,000, like 10 toes down in. And the very next day, he comes back to check in on her. He brings her fresh flowers and all this. And from the beginning,
Wildflowers picked from a field.
I'm like, I don't like this man. I don't like this man.
Willoughby!
He shows up. And then he says, "Oh, I could tell you guys you were reading Shakespeare's sonnets. Which one was it?" And so Marianne's like, "Oh, it's the 116th. It's my favorite." And then he's like, "Oh, I carry around the sonnets in my pocket." I was like, "Bro, you doing this for the girls? Like, don't tell me you walking around here with Shakespeare sonnets in your pocket unless you doing it for the ladies."
Which are your favourites?
Without a doubt, mine is 116.
Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love, which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Then how does it continue?
Oh no,
It
is an ever-fixed mark
that looks on storm.
tempest. Oh,
Is it
I
tempest?
do believe it is tempests.
Let me find it. It's strange you should be reading these, but look, I carry them with me always.
Oh, how beautiful.
He did have it in his pocket.
And then he shows up and he starts to recite it to her.
Bars too, like he
He knew a little bit.
He said, "How's the rest of
And then she had to correct him. She said, "No, I believe it's Tempest. I believe it's Tempest." He said, "Okay."
Not that bar, my bad.
So we're watching this, and Marianne's like, "Oh, this is it." Like, she's like, "This is the man for me." Look at the way he reads, and he keeps coming back and over. Like, she's drawing his picture. Bro, he's cutting a locket of her hair to keep. I was like,
he's beasting.
He was doing so much.
Because he was beasting too. Because like he would come out every day. He like tell everybody hi, and then he just pick up Marianne and dip.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, so he's just like out with her all day doing God knows what.
And you got to think about it. Like, you don't take women out on dates. Like, out in the woods by yourself. Like, what are y'all even doing?
Nah,
there's certain rules of decorum that are supposed to be followed, and Marianne does not care. Like, they're seen running up and down in a horse-drawn carriage, going like going mad fast.
Yeah, he's speeding through town.
Speeding through town. Her hair is flying. Her skirt is raising up, and people are like, "Oh!" People are talking because it's like, what is going on? Who are these people?
I'm having fun, dog. What you want me to do?
And like, y'all is spending time as if you're an engaged couple. Because even at one point when she walks him to the gate, he makes it a comment to be like, "Oh, you're walking me unattended to the gate," which is like a no-no. Because like you said, what are y'all doing together? Y'all could be doing anything and nobody knows. And Eleanor warns him. She was like, "You know nothing about this man." And Marianne's kind of like, "Yeah, but you're sitting here. We all know you love Edward. You're not going to admit it. And like, you're keeping it close to your chest. For what purpose? Whereas I'm living my life. Like, I like this guy. He likes me.
And I'm going to let everybody know that that's my name." Yo, Eleanor didn't care about the rules of the times.
Marianne.
Marianne didn't care about the rules of the times. She was just like, yo, if I feel a way, I'm just going to say I feel the way. Like, why would I not say it? Like, I don't understand why we're doing this. Like, she didn't understand the game that people played. Like, it didn't make any sense to her. She's like, this is a waste of time.
So now at this point, I guess the point where they're basically like, they go together, right? But then one day, Eleanor and Mom and Margaret come back to the house, and Marianne is like sobbing, crying, and John Willoughby's looking mad suspect. He's like, "Yeah, I have to go." So I'm watching this like, "Bro, what did you do?" I'm like, "He did something. He's lying about something. Like, something's not right." He's like, "Oh yeah, I just have to go." And so they're like, "What do you mean you have to go? Like, when you coming back?" And he's like, "I'm not sure." Like, just mad. Like, I don't know. He literally runs out the door and leaves.
He's like, "Yeah, you're making this too hard for me. I can't bear it."
And then he just
dips.
So they're like, "What?"
So it's like, you can't bear what?
So Eleanor's like, yo, what is going on? And Marianne's like, I don't know, but he has to leave. He has to go to London. We're not sure when he's coming back. And she's like completely beside herself. Just keeping on their storyline. Eventually, they end up going to London with Miss Busybody.
It was her idea.
Yeah.
Jennings was like, yo, let's all go to London. What's good?
And while they're there, they're at this dance. And Eleanor happens to be like changing partners on the dance floor and she sees Willoughby. And she's like, oh, I didn't like, hey. Mind you, Marianne has been writing this man letters incessantly.
From time.
So much so that when they get into the carriage to travel to London, when they arrive in London, she passes off the letter immediately. So she was writing the letter in the carriage.
Yeah.
People
She's
are
like,
talking
when I get to London.
People are talking around town that like she's writing letters to him at night, like overnight to get out. Like she's pressed. And so she sees him and she's like, yo, did you get my letters? I've been writing you. And he's like, I'm in and on. And he's like, being mad, like distant. He's like, oh, well, thank you for letting me know. And like,
he's giving her nothing.
He's talking to her like she's just some person he met. He's like, oh yeah, thanks for alerting me to that situation. And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, what's happening? So now he curves you and he walks away to a back room. So at that moment, I would have been like, oh, he's trying to play me. Yeah, I'm just going to bow out.
I think it's also like, why? And it's also the fact that I'm looking at this as a man I was going to marry. So it's not just like, oh, I'm going to bow out. Because again, your whole life is tied to being married to a man. So it's not something that you're just going to be like, oh, I guess it didn't work. Because then now, what are you going to do?
Yes, but I'm also not going to be like, she's like, what? Like she yells his name.
Well, no, this is again. She
I would
care.
Never.
She doesn't care, bro.
I was cringing watching her. I'm like, girl, you look so desperate right now. Stop, please stop, please stop. She yells his name. She goes to the back room and she realizes like all the high society people are back here. You can tell like their dress is a lot nicer. And he's staying next to this woman who seems to be very rich. And she puts her arm through his and he turns around and she's like, who are these women? And he's like, oh, just some people I met in the country. And she's like, I could tell based on their country clothes. I was like, oh, God. So it's very clear that this woman is someone he is seeing. Because, like, y'all are seen in public arm in arm. Like, that's your girl. Marianne basically almost passes out. She just can't believe what's happening. Eleanor, you can tell that she's hurting for her sister, but it's almost like she's like, girl, but did he give you assurances that he was going to marry you? Like, were you, like, are you actually engaged? Like, did he tell you that he loved you? She's asking all these questions.
Nah, but come on. The lock of the hair is crazy, bro.
No, I agree.
The lock of the hair is insane.
I agree. But she's kind of just like, but like, what's happening?
And he's picking me up every day. So it's like, yeah, he didn't say the words, but I also feel like you didn't really always say the words back then. You only really said the words when you was getting ready to propose. So it's like, yeah, he didn't say the words, but I feel like Marianne had reason to be upset for me.
No, yes, I'm not saying that.
And Eleanor's like, oh, y'all weren't engaged. It's like, come
Eleanor's
on, bro,
like,
that's not
yeah,
the point.
but like, did you like? I think that's not the point. I think Eleanor's kind of thinking like, if it were me, I'm trying to guard my heart. So
clearly,
until I hear those words come out, I'm not gonna read into it. Like, I would like for this to be real, but I don't know that it is. I'm definitely way more of an Eleanor than a Marianne.
Yeah,
and so I was
also
like,
don't think like, well, did he say he loved your ass? Is like, I don't think that's helpful in the moment where I'm grieving this situation, and you're like, he never said he loved you anyway, girl. Like, you're not helping right now, bro. Like, you're not helping.
So the next day, she writes him another letter. He responds back, and when that letter he sends back her locket of hair. I was like, bro, you did not have to do that. That was wild.
Thanks for the memory. Take your dusty ass hair back.
He sent her back her hair and was like, yeah, like, sorry if I led you on, he said. But like, basically like, yeah, this is it. And then we find out from Miss Busybody that he's going to be married to that woman like later on that month. Like, it's a wrap. He's marrying somebody else. And Marianne is...
Willoughby's trash. The thing is, I was like, I felt the same way. Like, the whole time I'm watching it and I'm like, yo, like, something about this guy, it's too good to be true.
Too
like,
good.
He shows up and he's literally like the perfect suitor. Like he's coming through and is just way too perfect. Oh, let me sweep you up off your feet, carry you in, make sure that, and then he's like checking the bones on her ankle to make sure that it's not broken. He comes with the flowers. He's giving the sonnets. He's playing the music. Like it's like everything. It's like, so this guy has no flaws. Like if something seems a little too perfect, it's like there's got to be something about the other person that you're with that's like a little off.
Yeah,
like,
or a little annoying.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
right. This
yeah.
annoys me a little bit. I feel safe about this situation. It's
Yeah.
just not. It's not too perfect. He was too perfect, so you knew there was gonna be something else. And that's like him getting married to another woman wasn't even the worst of it,
Bro.
It gets worse
What else did he do?
because Colonel I'm about to say
Brandon.
Colonel Mustard. Colonel Brandon is like, yo.
That was my guy.
He's like, yo, I know some things, bro, but I'm not trying to be a snitch out here.
Yeah.
But, yo, I'm just going to tell you this because I feel like you need to know. So he tells Eleanor that, well, this also goes into his backstory. Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Brandon.
Colonel Brandon was a rich man who fell in love with the help. And because the woman was poor, his family said, you can't marry her. They kicked the woman out the house. She got fired by the family. He got depressed, joined the army.
They sent him to the army.
Oh, yes. He gets back out the army. He comes looking for this girl. And he finds her dying in a poorhouse. So now he's basically been depressed for the past, we don't even know how long. And also, it seems that Colonel Brandon kind of views himself as damaged goods because he even talks crazy about himself when Mr. Jennings, not Jennings. Jennings is the woman.
You talking about Sir John?
Yeah.
Middleton?
Mr. Middleton is like, yo, you should talk to Marianne, like, da-da-da. He's like, what's she gonna want to do with me? Like, I'm just like out here. I'm trash. So Marianne has no interest in him anyway, even though he tries to suit her because he feels like that's what he's supposed to do. He's trying to do the right thing. And she's like, this dude is old. I want nothing to do with him. So all that to say, he tells Marianne that the woman that he had this affair with,
Eleanor.
Yes, he tells Eleanor this. This woman that he was in love with, when he comes back out the army and goes looking for her, he finds out that she had an illegitimate child.
Right.
And as she's dying, she asks Colonel Brandon to basically take care of her child for her. So he finds her a family to live with, and as he's trying to take care of her, she goes missing for 8 months. When they find her, she's pregnant. Who got her pregnant? Willoughby. What did he do after he got her pregnant? He skipped town. So Willoughby got this girl pregnant. She was missing for 8 months, so who knows? He had her running around England. Then, because he got her pregnant and she wasn't rich, his mother found out and snatched his inheritance away. And that's why he left London in such a hurry, because he already had this other girl pregnant. Now he's in the country getting all close with Marianne, while he already had this other situation with this girl that he was away with for 8 months.
Trash.
And then it wasn't only until his mom found out about it and that he also had a kid that she's like, yo, what are you doing? Like, you're just out here just like meeting mad different women.
And planting seeds everywhere.
And just like hooking up. So this is when he comes back. Now he leaves Marianne high and dry and has to go and marry this other woman because he has no more inheritance.
Exactly.
So now he has to marry someone rich.
And Miss Gray, his new wife, had 50,000 pounds. That was like her dowry, I guess.
Yeah.
So it was like, yo, like, this is
So
money.
I back up.
I have to marry her. Yeah, for the money. Well, you don't have to. You can choose to marry poor if you want. But who wants that life.
Yeah, and it's also like,
And so he chose.
And then it's, what's my draw as a man?
He chose the money. And honestly,
Well,
like,
actually, what's his draw as a man now? Because he doesn't have money, and
he marries into it.
Yeah, but what's her reason for marrying him?
I don't know. She must.
I don't know either.
She must find him attractive.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
guess.
don't think he lost the money. I think it was kind of like, if you like, basically like, if you don't do this, like, you're gonna lose. Like, I think his mom was like, you're doing too much, so you're gonna go ahead and take this bag and marry this woman and keep our good family name. Or if you stay and marry this Dashwood woman, you're basically done.
I don't even think the mom knew about Marianne. The mom found out about the girl he got pregnant.
Yeah, well, I think it was Lady Allen is his aunt, is who they're talking about. But either way, I think it's kind of just like, this is what I have to do to stay in line. So like, they even said he took the money versus marrying for love. And Eleanor says to her, so basically Eleanor tells Marianne what's going on, and Marianne's like, I mean, apparently it seemed as if he was going to propose to her had Lady Allen not found out about this baby. So his intentions apparently were pure, according to Colonel Brandon. He said, I believe he was going to marry Marianne, but yet he didn't because of the money.
And yet, he still would have had an illegitimate child floating out somewhere in England.
No one even talks about that anymore, because I feel like Marianne, even towards the end, Marianne was kind of like, she still wanted to be with him, because even after she hears this news, she's outside in the rain yet again, and she's standing, because I believe John Middleton's estate is like above Willoughby's, so she can like see his estate down below, and she's out there saying like, Willoughby, oh Willoughby, in the pouring rain, probably for hours, because apparently she passes out, and Colonel Brandon has to go outside and rescue her and bring her inside. And it's not, I mean, she almost dies.
Yeah, I thought she was out of here.
She's almost dead, because back then, if you catch a cold, it's pretty much over for you. So I thought for sure she was gonna die. But watching Colonel Brandon, like, he wanted to care for her so much and didn't really know what to do. Like, he even asked Eleanor, like, what can I do? I have to do something. I can't just stand here. And she said, well, go and get Mother. Like, that'll help her. And so he's doing all that he can to make sure that she gets nursed back to health. She does pull through. And once she comes back, it's like, now she starts to see Colonel Brandon as someone that obviously cares for her, is still there. Like, do you think she actually grew to love him? Or was it just her realizing, like, this is my lot in life now. I have to just kind of take the chips where they fall and ride with it. Like,
Yeah,
what were your thoughts on that?
I think it's definitely the latter.
Yeah.
There's no indication at any point in the film that she like had any emotional connection with him. I mean, at the end, we do see, as she's being nursed back to health, that he's like reading her sonnets, which I know was very important to her. But personality-wise, they didn't seem to have any sort of connection. But it's the fact that, like you said, he comes and gets me in the rain. He goes hours out of his way to find my mother. Like, he's a stand-up dude, and he does nice things.
Yeah.
And he's reliable. And so I feel like it was only the things that he did for her that made her want him versus like actually who he was.
Yes, but also I think just being practical about it is like, girl, what else is your plan?
Well, right,
Yeah,
but
so
then
it's like,
it's also the I guess we could talk about this when we get to themes, but it's like, what is the message about? Here's this character who's basically painted for the entire film as this hopeless romantic, and she basically ends up marrying for money just like everybody else. Like, she doesn't get what she was looking for. And I just wonder what Jane Austen was trying to say with that character.
we'll get into that. Let's pivot now to Miss Steele, Lucy. So we meet Lucy because she and her, I don't know if it was her parents or her aunt and uncle, come to visit at Sir John Middleton's estate. And while they're there, Lucy instantly meets Eleanor, and she's like, oh, so you're Miss Dashwood. And she's like, oh, I've heard quite a bit about you. So she's like, from who? And she's like, oh, Edward Ferris. And she was like, Edward? Because of course she has not seen or heard from Edward. So she's like, Edward, what do you mean? And she reveals to her that in secret, she and Edward have been engaged for the past 5 years. No one knows, because if his family knew, they would not like it, because Lucy has no money. Lucy has less money than the Dashwoods. Like, she's broke. So she's like, yeah, like, we're seeing each other. And so Eleanor's like, well, you've been engaged for 5 years. Like, how do you bear it? And she's like, oh, well, I'm a very jealous woman. And had he spoken of another woman too much, like, I would know about it. And it's like, her talking to Eleanor, it felt like everything was very pointed and very deliberate, and everything was kind of meant to get under Eleanor's skin. Like, I was like, girl, you know something's going on here, because you keep looking at her funny. You pulling out Edward's handkerchief to wipe your face. I was like, what? This Lucy character was getting under my skin. Because I was like,
I thought she was a plant from Fanny.
I was like, she feel like a snake.
I didn't understand what was going on.
Well, did you get it by the end? She's a snake. So this was what happened. So basically what was going on was this. She was engaged to Edward for 5 years when she was younger. What ends up happening is Edward's mom finds out about the engagement because Lucy ends up telling Fanny. And we know Fanny's going to tell everybody. So Fanny...
Oh, that's when she grabs her and kicks her out the house.
Yeah, because she's like, ew. We tried to like be generous towards you, and you're trying to marry my brother?
Yeah.
Fanny's like, yeah, you're literally you're lower than the help. Like, get out. She literally kicks her out of the house, tells the mother.
But Fanny, but that whole conversation was so trash, because Fanny's like, oh yeah, you can marry whoever you want. You're a beautiful girl. You're young. Da da da. Yo, if there's a guy that you're looking for, let's figure out how we can get you what you need. And then she's like, yeah, it's your brother. She said, what?
She screamed.
If I dare tell, I can assure you, I am as silent as the grave.
Her whole
screamed.
tone switched up so fast. I'm like, oh, so you were okay with her marrying somebody rich as long as it wasn't your family.
Yes, exactly what it was. And so once that happens, and we all know that Fanny's mom, we can tell that Fanny gets all of her characters. She's basically just like her mom. And so her mom basically was like, yeah, this is not going to happen. So the mom tells Edward, you break off the engagement with Lucy or you're losing all of your inheritance. And
everybody's inheritance gets threatened this whole movie.
But Edward is a stand-up guy. And he's like, I made a vow to her 5 years ago. I cannot possibly break that vow. And so the whole time, Eleanor's thinking like they're engaged, they're about to get married. They even hear that Mrs. Steele and Mr. Forrest get married. Like, so like Eleanor is down bad. Like, it's over for her. And come to find out that Edward reveals later on in the movie that he received a letter from Miss Steele, who said that basically while she was in London, that she basically fell for Edward's younger brother, Robert.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up secretly going and getting married to lock in the bag, because Lucy was going to get that money. So the way I see it is this. Lucy knew she was engaged to Edward. And I think that
Edward wasn't going to marry her.
Yes, he was.
Oh, well. So why do you think she went with Robert instead?
Because once the mom found out, it was like, I'm losing the money. So because he said, oh, I can't do it, the money is not going to be here, she just went ahead, because at that point, all of his inheritance was already given to the brother. So Lucy was like, all this money is just sitting here. I'm just going to go ahead and marry it.
Yeah.
So she just pivoted from one brother to the next to get the bag, because she was like, I don't really care either way.
That's actually the whole point of this.
I don't care either way. Like, Lucy actually played the game better than anybody on this movie, because she was like, yo, like, I'm going to...
Fanny.
Well, I guess Aunt Fanny. I'm going to secure this bag. And so by the end, Edward's actually free to marry Eleanor. And like that scene when Eleanor finally is able to release all those emotions she's been holding on to for the past who knows how long, because she realizes
She finally got proposed to.
not only is Edward not taken, but like he is choosing me, openly choosing me. And like she thought it was never going to happen for her. And also, Eleanor is the eldest sister. They're calling her a spinster in the streets.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm just going to be here with my mom and my sisters until I die, basically. This is my lot in life. And it turns out that she's able to eventually have this romance at the end. And I thought at the end the wedding was going to be their wedding, but it ended up being
Double wedding.
it ended up Marianne getting married to Colonel Brandon, and then you see your man Willoughby in the distance watching the procession, and he's still forlorn, and
That could have been mine.
but you chose not to marry her, bro.
You still have a child, Willoughby. Get out of here, bro.
That child never gonna see him.
Get out of here, bro.
That child's never gonna see him. She gonna die in the poorhouse just like his mama. That's sad.
Yes, that is sad.
All right, what did you think the theme was?
True love is honest and earnest. And what I mean by that is, number one, you have a lot of people who are presenting a certain way, but they're not being honest to each other. And Willoughby is the most dishonest of them all, and he ends up not really getting love in the end. The characters who are the most honest, Colonel Brandon, even Marianne, and not just the honesty in terms of like withholding secrets and all these other things, but I think being earnest as well. And I think that's one of the big things that Marianne was trying to get from her sister is like, you're not willing to actually say the thing that you're thinking. You're not willing to actually fight for yourself. And I think someone like Brandon, who felt that he had kind of missed out on the love of his life, was like earnest in trying to impress the Dashwoods, in earnest in trying to find a doctor when Marion got sick, doing all the things that he could. And so I think it's like twofold in terms of like, yes, being true and honest about your emotions, which we see that Edward isn't able to do until the end of the film, but also like actually trying to make things happen instead of just kind of allowing life to happen to you.
Okay. So I went into it in a more, I guess, technical sense. So looking at the title, Sense and Sensibility. Sense indicates like rationality or common sense, while sensibility is like a hypersensitivity in emotion, right? Someone who's like super sensitive. And again, it shows the difference between Eleanor and Marianne, as Eleanor is a sensible one, and Marianne is the one that is just so overcome with emotion that she can't seem to control herself. And I think that when it comes to, the affairs of the heart, both of the sisters had to learn a little bit about how to borrow from their sister, because Marianne was all about the emotion. And as the movie goes on, she kind of becomes more and more reserved. Towards by the end, it's kind of just like, yes, that was the one love that I had, but like he was dishonest with me, dishonest with a bunch of other people, and I didn't stop myself before falling so hard, and it caused all this heartbreak. Now I have this man who was here for me and will care for me, and he's a good man, so maybe love can grow down the line. Whereas you have Eleanor, who just wouldn't even admit to anybody that she loved Edward. Everything was just close to her chest. She even kept Lucy's secret, although Lucy was playing in her face the entire movie. And she couldn't really let anyone know how she felt until the very end of the film. And by the end, she's the emotional one. She's the one that's bursting out in tears and having this loud outburst. And her sister has kind of taken her role. So I thought it did a good job as far as how the title represents each person and how towards the end they kind of just like merged to show that you need a little bit of both in life. Running around with your heart on your sleeve is not healthy, but neither is having this wall up that no one can break down. All right, some facts for y'all. This movie had a budget of $16 million and it grossed over $134 million.
Pretty decent return.
A little bit. Emma Thompson was the screenwriter as well as one of the actors in the film. She wrote the role of Edward with Hugh Grant in mind. It took her 5 years to adapt the screenplay from the novel, but it paid off because she ended up winning the Academy Award for Best Screenplay. To this day, she is still the only person to have won an Oscar as an actor for a movie called Howard's End in '93, as well as winning an Oscar for their screenplay. So kudos to her. Kate Winslet was hit with a wave of hypothermia during filming by the rain machine that kept beating down on her.
Yeah, I think we saw that scene. She almost died.
Winslet collapsed after shooting around 50 takes of her character slipping and falling in the rain at the time that she's being carried home by John Willoughby. So John Willoughby, Wise, who plays John Willoughby, ended up meeting Emma Thompson while they were filming this movie. At the time, Thompson was married to someone else, but they ended up splitting up. And then she fell in love with the guy playing Willoughby. Winslet was only 19 when she began filming this movie, and Emma Thompson was saying in an interview that she noticed that Winslet had a tendency to not eat as much as she needed to. And so Winslet said we were filming the movie and she could tell that I wasn't eating enough. I was skipping lunch. I would pretend that I ate breakfast and all of that. And so she said that Emma Thompson took her to the side and said, quote, "Losing weight is absolutely wrong for the part and absolutely wrong for you. Do you want to be a twig or a heart and soul that is true?" I was like, oh, she was a rhymer? She's a little poet.
Reading them sonnets. Her own sonnets.
Which I think is just really nice to hear that you had a fellow older actress who could pull you to the side to be we don't need you to stop to skip meals to play this part. Your weight is fine as it is for you. It's also fine for the role. So please don't kill yourself.
Especially in the 90s.
Man, additionally, even the little actress, Emily Francois, who played Margot, she was 12. And apparently she said that she was trying to lose a few kilos. And so Emma Thompson was like, yeah, I would force her to eat as well. So I was like, yeah, you need women in the who could come out here and say no, it's okay for you to weigh. And Margaret, girl, you're 12 and also you're 12.
And she wasn't a big 12.
You're 12.
It wasn't like she was one of them chunky kids. She was
Girl.
just like a regular
But it
kid.
was that culture. And so I just thought it was really nice to know that they had someone on set who cared enough about, the actors to tell them that it wasn't necessary to do that, particularly in those formative years. All right, and now
it's time for the Rewind Ratings.
Okay, so this is my pick, so I will go first. So first off, this is long; it's 2 hours, but also you're adapting a book, so I'm not quite sure what they would cut out because there's so many different characters that they had to talk about and so many different storylines they had to delve into. You had to kind of follow the book in a sense. So I'm not even quite sure how they would be able to cut anything out. I don't typically go for movies like this. Anytime I throw on older TV shows, particularly with an British accent, I don't know why it makes me so tired. When there was a few years ago, I would throw on Downton's Abbey just to go to sleep because just having them talk just lull me to sleep immediately. So I was kind of nervous, but this movie got a lot of good reviews, and I was like, you know what? For Nikki's birthday, we'll do it. We'll see.
It's for Nikki. It's her birthday.
We'll do it, and we'll see.
We'll do it for Nikki.
But yeah, I think there's definitely a lesson to be shown here. I didn't hate it. which is saying a lot because I really thought I was going to be like completely bored to death. I wasn't. I found the parts with the cousins in the cottage pretty funny, and just the different storylines with the love stories and the backstabbing and the loss of inheritance and the fanny of it all. Like it really kept me engaged to see what was going to happen to the characters. I did care about these characters. I did want to see something good happen for them. And honestly, I think one of the best moments for me was towards the end when Eleanor finally gets that, you know, the whole like my heart belongs to you from Edward. It wasn't even Eleanor's reaction, it was her mother's reaction that I loved. Cuz like poor Mrs. Dashwood has gone through hell and high water to make sure that her daughters, that her basically descendants can live well. And just to see the relief on her face that both of her daughters have found good suitors who will care for them and make sure they have a place to stay. And she just felt like the relief that she showed on her face. I just felt it was very touching. It was very nice to see. So I actually did enjoy this. I'm gonna give this a 3.5.
Okay. Yeah. When you first was like, "Yo, we're gonna watch Sense and Sensibility," I was like, "Oh man, this movie is gonna suck." And this is me knowing like nothing about it other than like, oh, it's based on the novel and it's in the 1700s. Like that's really all I knew, and I knew it was gonna be a romantic drama. But yeah, you're right. Seeing the 2 hour and 19-minute runtime, whatever it was very like scary. So I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's go in. And I started watching it and I was like, okay, this is actually pretty engaging, all things considered. I don't think this is a movie that I would have picked on my own, but yeah, it kept my attention throughout. It didn't feel too long, which is very easy to do with a 2 hour movie. Like it felt like the timing was appropriate. The story had enough twists throughout the course of it, and you're meeting a lot of different characters, but it didn't feel like overwhelming like
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, where you're like,
Yeah.
who is this guy? So it was like still fairly easy to follow, and obviously taking notes while I was watching the movie didn't hurt. In terms of replay value and like how rewatchable is a movie, how likely am I to rewatch it again? I think that's a tougher question based on, I guess, the genre and the length are still a factor for me in terms of like how likely would I be to sit down and watch this again. I don't know that I would be very likely, but it's not because the movie isn't good. Because I do think it's a good movie. Like I understand why the ratings are high. I understand why it was winning awards. Like it was well done. But I don't really have anything bad to say about it either. So I'm just gonna say 3 rewinds.
I figured you're gonna go down the middle of the road. Nice,
Yeah.
safe score.
I'm gonna go right down the middle.
All right, so a 3 and a 3.5. We were both surprised at the fact that we both enjoyed this movie. So let us know what your rewind rating is.
I know. I would just say like, I would probably even give it higher in terms of like, as a film, it's a good film. I think I don't think I would just necessarily be as quick to rewatch it because number one, I don't really watch a lot of romance stories, but number two, it's kind of like after you know the twists, it's like, all right, now what am I actually just watching this again for? Like, because I already know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I think that's really what it is. But nah, it was a good movie.
That's a good point to make because like as you were talking, I kind of was like, man, I probably should give it a 4 because like I think it's a 4 film. Like I think it's a great film.
Yeah.
I think it's just like you said. Like, am I gonna throw this back on now that I know what happens? But like when the twist happens, you're like, what? Lucy, she's married. Like a lot's going on and it's really engaging. So let us know what y'all think. What is your rewind rating? If you have another movie you'd like for us to review, send us an email at rewindrewatch1990s at gmail.com. We've been receiving quite a few reviews lately. I've been getting them via DMs on IG mostly. So I feel like every week I go on here and I have to add a few more movies. So keep them all coming. And if you want to join our Patreon, we just released an episode on John Q recently. So that's just $5 a month. We will give you bonus episodes that cover late 80s and early 2000s movies. And also you get access to voting and exclusive chat with your other patrons. Do you have any final words for Sense and Sensibility?
I have a few, but I'm going to pick one. After all that is bewitching in the idea of one's happiness entirely depending on one person, it is not always possible. We must accept.
Oof. Eleanor, preach! Team Eleanor, by the way. Hashtag Team Eleanor, in case y'all didn't realize that. All right, y'all. We will see you next week.
Adios.
Later.